Howdy, it's Annie Oakley back here with you. I got a few prepping thoughts and a few stacking thoughts I thought I'd share with you. First off, I want to tell you about this. I got this a couple weeks ago. I'd never tried it. I got it because we have wire worms out here. And when it starts getting cold, the wire worms become uninvited guests. Now, I've used diatomaceous earth, and it works great. But when the wind blows, you gotta do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. So I thought I'd try this stuff, and you can do some real good with it. The bad thing about it that I can't see on the container is if it's harmful to dogs or cats, because after I spray, I don't want to let my dog out, and sometimes he wants to go out. So if you got a wire worm issue, and I know it's gross, but those things are gross, and if you're looking for something that works, this stuff really does. It works pretty darn good. So you might want to check that out. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about laundry, something that I started doing about a year ago. I used to buy these dryer sheets, and I've had these for a couple years. And then I'm sure you've noticed that the laundry soap, due to stagflation, you get less product that costs a lot more money. Well, I always, because we've got hard water, I'd fill the little cup up and dump my laundry soap in. I have found that if I use about half as much, and if something's just really dirty, my husband's clothes, I just let them soak for a while. After they agitate for about 5 minutes, let them soak for about 15. The clothes get just as clean, and I'm using half as much laundry soap, which is wonderful. Anyway, I kind of stopped using this stuff because it's one more chemical to put in your clothes, and that stuff, it's on your skin. And the only time I use this is if I'm going to wear some real nice outfit somewhere and the fabric sticks to my skin otherwise. But basically, I pretty much cut this out. Okay, and then over here, this is one of my favorite products. Now, as you can see, I've got the heavy duty. It's getting pretty darn expensive too. You can buy the regular or the heavy duty. I have found that using the regular, if you put it on a warm casserole and let it sit, or you put it in the fridge right away, for whatever reason, a lot of times you'll see little holes on the surface of it. I don't know why, but I don't buy the regular anymore. And sometimes, some things, it just doesn't pay to buy the cheaper stuff when it doesn't work. You can use this for so much stuff. A lot of my items that I bury, I oftentimes wrap them in a little bit of this, because if anybody gets to snooping around too closely, I do think this will get your metal detector thrown off a little bit, perhaps. I'm just saying. Now, you'll notice this is crumply. It is not smooth. Aluminum foil has so many fabulous uses. One of them I learned 5 or 6 years ago when the Wuhan Wiggle came about. Now, I can't give myself credit for that name. I got it from another YouTuber. But in the event that you need to ghost out for a little while, like if you don't want to be tracked or traced, if you crinkle this stuff up, wrap it around your smart device that is always spying on you, you can shut down everything. You'll still have it with you in case you have car trouble or something. But if you leave this on for an hour or two, when you take it off, you will be bombarded with messages that you've missed, phone calls that you've missed, all your videos that you subscribe to or whatever. They just come slamming on. Now, something I did to test mine, because some of the smart devices, they're pretty powerful. So if I triple wrap mine, it'll shut it down. I'm just saying. I know none of us would ever want to do that, but it's strictly for casseroles. That's what I meant to say. Okay. Now, today I heard a crazy statistic. There are 359 paper contracts to one of these lovely little items. So can you imagine being an investor and calling your broker up and saying, "Hey Bob, I want to take delivery on those 1,000 ounces I bought." Bob would have a heart attack right then and there, today anyway, because silver it's getting a little harder to find, as we're all hearing, because those of us that are stackers and that tune in to our favorite videos that we watch, we know that the LBMA, they are scrambling for silver. Everybody's helping them. The refiners are all backed up. I mean, I do believe this mess will shake out in a couple weeks, The backwardation, the new word we've all learned, hopefully will be a thing of the past. I think that shop owners, they're buying silver at futures prices because it's lower. I think that's horrible. I'm just saying. Okay. Have you all made any purchases? I think right at this moment, an ounce of silver is $52 and some change. So, something to think about. I hope to keep stacking. That's, at this point, even though $50 silver sounds like a lot, because we've been buying it for 10 or 12 or 25, and now here we are. It's like, dang, it sounds like a lot, but I think if some of them out there are correct, $50 will seem pretty cheap in a year's time. So think about that too. I mean, dollar cost average. Don't get yourself in trouble. We're all hopefully adults, and we can use some good judgment. Now I'm going to tell you a little story. My husband, is waking up a little bit. Praise the Lord. I was out here in the office, and he came out here the other day with his phone, and he had been watching TikTok and whatever. But he shows me this advertisement, and it was one of the little 1-ounce Scottsdale bars, and it was on sale for $19.95, and you could get so many. And I told him, darling, that is from a country that probably begins with the letter C and then ends in an A, and they sell fakes all over the internet. And thank you for showing it to me, but I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And he appreciated that because he didn't know. And so when we're out looking around, I always ask my coin shop guy, Eric, have you put it across the Sigma? Yeah. And if I want him to do it again, he'll do it. So just be on the lookout for fakes. A lot of people are sitting there late at night watching QVC, and then some other commercial come on. We've probably all seen them where they're selling silver coins, and they're the best deal on the planet. And people get them and they put them away. And then, 20 years later, when Grandpa dies, somebody takes them to the coin shop to sell them, and they're silver clad, and they're worth $1 or whatever. I mean, how disappointing and how awful. But that's what it is. Also, I've been thinking about a few things. And like, should I go on with my YouTube channel, or am I just wasting my time and yours? I hope I'm not wasting your time, and I really thank you for hanging out with me, subscribing to my channel, liking it, maybe sharing it with somebody. Super nice of you and greatly appreciate it. But if somebody said, if you could do 3 things with your YouTube channel, what would you do? If you got these 3 wishes, the first thing I would do is I would hope and pray that you're saved. That Jesus Christ and you're a follower. If you are, good on you. If you're not, you really ought to consider it. Things are getting crazy, and that's how it is. And if you want to ask me about it, you can make a comment to me. I'm not a pastor, or whatever, but I know people that are very gifted, spiritual people. So there's that. The second thing that I would do is, and the second and the third kind of go together. I would say, let's get rid of AI, and let's make sure that CBDCs are never a thing. And I know I get to harping on that, but to me, and I'll say it again, CBDCs are really the beginning of the end. Everybody uses their bank card. All you got to do is do a quick swipe, and you're good. I don't use a bank card. I won't. I use a check or I use cash. And once in a great while, if I order from Amazon, like something I need for the farm, I'll use my credit card. So, I would. And I think I've mentioned this before, that one time I asked my grandmother, what do you think will cause the downfall of our country, and this was in 2020, and she was over 90 years old at that time. And really, the internet hadn't been out very long. And when I asked her that, without missing a beat, she said the internet. And I just remember being so shocked because I didn't know that much about the internet at that point in time. And here's this old lady in a wheelchair, and that's what she said, which, whatever. So, search your own heart about the CBDC business. I don't think that we need more government interference. It's going to be digits on a screen, ones and zeros. And what if they punch in not enough ones or zeros in the right place for your bank account, and you thought you had $10,000 in the bank, and suddenly you've got negative 10,000. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to go argue with AI? And I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, are you going to like being tracked and traced? Are you going to like it when they say, well, Mr. Jones, you may not buy a pound of hamburger anymore because now we're selling it in ounces, and you've had your allotment for the week. So take a hike. Or they cut it down to grams, because that's where this is headed. It's time we all wake up and stand up and say, hell no, we're not taking it no more. We cannot be afraid. This is our great country that has fallen so far. And we've got to stop. It's time. We have got to save our country. So, and I think it's going to be hard at this point. I think things could get a lot uglier before they get better. But it just takes one person at a time to try to do the right thing. And always keep your head on a swivel, because like I said, things were getting pretty dicey out there. Also, it's like us out here on the farm. The small farmer, like, we work our butts off out here. And you have to just keep things going. But small farmers are going to be a thing of the past if we don't do something about it. Most of the farmers out here, most of them are 50 plus years old. And some of them are a lot older. And some of them farm till they die, you know. Farming, living out here, I mean, it's got its pros and cons. I don't go to the museum hardly ever. We do have a nice one in the same town as my coin shop. We do not have an opera. There are things to do. We have a college, we have a university over in that town, and we also have a community college out west where we go once in a while. There are things to do, but, you know, people can let their kids go outside and play and get dirty, and, you know, you don't have to worry that your little ones are safe. They can go ride their bike. You know, of course you have to watch them when they're little guys, but I don't know. I don't know. I think rural living, personally, is so much better, and I would not trade it for any amount of money to be in a city at this point in time. So, support your local farmers if you can. You can go to Walmart and grab a pound of hamburger, and you don't really know where that hamburger's been. You can come to the local butcher shops, and one of them that's about 30 miles from here, it closed down for a little while. So we had to drive 2 hours to the southwest to find a butcher. We buy a half a beef from our daughter every year and her husband. And it's worked out really good for us. And whenever we run out, we'll go back to one of those butchers and buy what we need. And we always try to share. Well, actually, we do share with other people. And I would encourage you, if you ever have a little bit extra and you can help somebody a little bit, do it. Just do it. I really don't believe, I'm not in any position to give anybody a loan, but if I give somebody something, it's just like I give it to them. Because when you sit around and expect somebody to pay you back, is it worth a friendship? So that's just my thoughts on it. But keep the little farmers and even the big ones, keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and try to support them. Because I'd rather buy beef from the butcher shop than get it at a big box store. I've had to buy it there before, but I'm thankful I haven't had to for quite a while. People think, if you live on a farm, you're, some old man or lady out there in their overalls, and they don't know anything. They don't have a PhD. They know a little bit of everything. Seriously. Some of the smartest people I know that can fix just about anything are farmers. Farming costs a fortune, even for little farmers. You've got to buy equipment. You have to buy fuel. You have to buy oil. You have to buy hydraulic oil. You have to buy antifreeze. And I'm not talking about a quart. I'm talking about gallons, big barrels of this stuff. It takes a lot. When we have a flat tire, which we have on the combine, or a tractor, you're looking at $1,000 repair bill. And, our stuff is not big and new and fancy. It's old, and we repair it, we maintain it, and take care of it. And, that's what you got to do. But when something goes wrong, you've got to fix it right then and there, because when it's harvest time, those machines have to be kept going, because you don't want to get caught in a snowstorm before you get your corn picked. Because if you do, all the weight from the snow is going to knock the ears of corn off, and then you might lose half of it. Or if it's milo, same thing. It'll knock the heads off, and then it becomes a real nightmare sometimes trying to get back in there and harvest it. The chemicals it takes, anhydrous ammonia, nitrogen, weed killer, like we do a little bit of spraying, not super heavy duty. We do more farming, plowing than we do spraying, but we do have to spray sometimes. The seed, you cannot believe how much seed costs. It's unbelievable. Then, if you're lucky enough to have an irrigation sprinkler, guess what that does to your electric bill? We've got a small one, It doesn't pump very much water, but out here, every drop matters. We've been, let me think here, probably, we have been in a drought for the last 6 years. This year, we've had more rain than we've had in a long time. Not a lot, but we've had more than we normally get. It's been a godsend. Also, last summer and the summer before, it got hotter out here than I ever remember it. Like, we were hitting 106, 107, and when the wind blows, I mean, you're living in a fire hazard big time. So that's just how it is. I mean, farming is very expensive. It's very rewarding, very expensive, a lot of hard work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Now, talking about the fire situation, we get notices every once in a while. Don't do any burning today, because if it's super hot, the wind's blowing, we don't need a notice. But we've seen this country on fire a few times, and everybody out here comes together and gets to work putting stuff out. That is another good reason to bury coins. If they're underground, hopefully they'll be safe, from the elements and from marauders. So there's that. Also, back to the good stuff here. One of my mods got a hold of me this evening and said his brother had mentioned to him that they're thinking about applying capital gains taxes to our metals. And I tell you, now's the time to stop it. We've got to stop it. And, most of us, ideally, it's our piggy bank. This is my 401k now. It's, if we need money to live on, we'll have some. I really hope that we can pass some of it off to our children. I'd love to do that. And my grandchildren, and maybe my great-grandchildren. How cool would that be to be able to just leave that to your kids? And hopefully you've done a good job of teaching them, and they won't run down and sell it the minute they get it. So, just a few things to think about. Okay, and then I think I've hit my rant that I was thinking about. Let's take a look at what I got here. Okay, I got this at a coin show several years ago. You can see it's called Casino Vault Hoard. It's MS63. It is a Carson City Morgan, 1883. And yes, I did pay for this girl. But like I said, I really don't buy this kind of stuff very often. But it's fun. It's fun to have a few cool things. And this girl's got just a little bit of patina to her. She's very pretty. And let's see what we've got in here. I'll look at a few things before I get off. I'm getting a little long-winded. Here is a, let's see, a 1988 silver Isle of Man crown Manx cat, PF69 Ultra Cameo. Now, I showed you my kookaburra and that panda. I got these the same time because my coin guy could not move them. And so he'd marked them way down. And every once in a while, I get lucky. This is the 1994 Australian wedge-tail eagle. She's also a PF 69 Ultra Cameo. And it's pretty nice. And it's got the queen, the young queen on the back. And I've got a 2019 Maple Leaf first day of issue, and it's a PF 70. And I got these things dirt cheap, shockingly. That's the cool thing about some of these little coin shops. You know, sometimes when business is slow, if you got a little extra fiat, it's a good way to convert it. And I'll show you a couple more bars, and then I'll get out of here because I have been pretty long-winded. This one is, it's called the Fleur de lait, I think. I am not French. It's quite lovely. So thankful I'm a stacker. This really is a beautiful little bar. I don't know if you can see it. And I bought this a couple years ago, and then I've got this NTR metals, assayers and refiners, 10 troy ounces. So thankful I got them. Very thankful I've got them. So I just like to share my stack once in a while with my friends, because when I'm watching these kind of videos, I love to look at other people's stacks. I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I love y'all. God bless every one of you. Keep your faith strong. And if you got any questions for me, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know in the comments. Stay safe and keep your head on a swivel. This is Annie Oakley, out.